Namo Vishnu Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Swami Iti Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Harine Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरौ श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरु दीनतारिणम्। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा। हल्का गरम कर दीजिए, पानी गरम। Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 2, text number 67. Indriyanam hi charitam yanmano vidhiyate tadasya harti pragyam vayurnavamivambhasi. The translation.
As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one on the roaming senses, one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence.
Yeah. So just like the wind can divert the boat, similarly, the sense objects in the world can divert the intelligence. Just like wind can divert the boat, like that, sense objects can divert the intelligence. When wind will divert the boat? When the boatman is not so strong. If boatman is not so strong, then wind will divert the boat. Similarly, if intelligence is not so strong, then sense objects of this world will divert the intelligence. So, what does it mean, strong intelligence? Means strong intelligence means faith in Krishna. One may be intelligent, one may be very intelligent materially in all material subjects, but if he doesn't have faith in Krishna, then he is not considered intelligent according to Bhagavad Gita. And one may be materially very weak, but if one has strong faith in Krishna, then he is intelligent. What does it mean to have strong faith in Krishna? It means one should not have much faith in the material facilities and objects, and one should have much more faith in Krishna. Just like Arjuna, he did not choose the Krishna's powerful army in Dwarka. It was very powerful, but Arjuna did not select it. Arjuna wanted only Krishna, who is not going to fight. So that is called being faith in Krishna. Most of the time, practicing devotees, they are practicing devotees. They do have some faith in Krishna. That is what they are practicing. But their faith is weak compared to faith in the material arrangements. So when we have more faith in material arrangements, more faith in material objects, then naturally the material objects are going to carry away our intelligence because it is not so strong, it is weak. So one should have strong faith in Krishna like Arjuna. That is called strong intelligence. And so many times, through so many stories in Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna is repeatedly telling that faith in material arrangement is not going to work out. One can do the needful material arrangement, there's nothing wrong about it. But do that as a duty, but have faith in Krishna. Ultimately, whatever Krishna decides, that's going to happen. So we do material arrangement just as a duty with devotion. Okay. Right. So to carry on material duties with devotion, you require to have needful strong sadhana, without which you cannot carry out your material duties with devotion. Arjuna is fighting, Duryodhana is fighting. Arjuna's fighting is considered as duty performed with devotion, not Duryodhana. Why? Because Arjuna is doing the needful sadhana, not Duryodhana. So similarly, the needful sadhana is necessary to make our duties done with the attitude of devotion. And that much faith in Krishna is also necessary. So most of the time, practicing devotees, they become weak in this area only. I have faith in Krishna, but more faith in material arrangement. And that is why, in spite of practicing Krishna consciousness for years and years and years, they don't grow much. Just like the boatman was rowing the boat whole night, but because boat was anchored to a wooden log on the bank of the river, in spite of rowing whole night, that boat could not move because that boat was anchored. So similarly, when we are anchored towards so many material objects, material facilities, material arrangement, we are having faith there more. Then, in spite of practicing Krishna consciousness for years and years and years, we don't grow much in Krishna consciousness because our attachment to material objects, material arrangement is carrying away our intelligence, and thus we are not so Krishna conscious in spite practicing Krishna consciousness. So, point is that our intelligence should be strong, just like boatmen should be strong. Similarly, our intelligence should be strong. That means faith in Krishna should be ultimate, more than anything else. And Arjuna is the best example for it. Okay, read the purport.
Unless all of the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord, even one of the engaged, one of them engaged in sense gratification can deviate the devotee from the path of transcendental advancement.
Wait. So it says all the senses to be engaged in Krishna's service. Even one sense is absorbed in sense gratification, then you are diverted. Even one sense. So here it is talking about one sense. Majority of the senses are in Krishna consciousness. One sense is diverted. So you will be diverted. But in our life, what happens? Not one sense. Majority of our life is not in Krishna consciousness. Only some part we practice, and that too not so purely. So you can imagine how much we are diverted from the path of Krishna consciousness. We are trying to practice Krishna consciousness, but our practice of Krishna consciousness is simply like a layer, just an upper layer. That's all. Very thin layer. But Krishna consciousness is not sinking inside our system. So that's how our Krishna conscious practice is very weak. And thus we are not so progressing in path of Krishna consciousness. Read about that.
As mentioned in the life of Maharaj Ambarish, all of the senses must be engaged in the Krishna consciousness for the correct technique for controlling the mind.
Yeah. So engage all the senses in Krishna consciousness, then mind will be controlled. Yes. So engage the senses in Krishna consciousness and keep the mind pure by giving pure inputs to the mind, not worldly material inputs, and keep the intelligence strong by applied hearing, not just hearing. What is applied hearing? See, Dhritarashtra was also hearing whole Bhagavad Gita, but his hearing was not applied hearing. His hearing was simply selective hearing. Means what is for me? Is he talking about the winning of Duryodhana or not? All other things he heard but did not pay attention. So all the philosophical talk which happened between Arjuna and Krishna, he didn't pay attention. He heard but didn't pay attention. So Dhritarashtra's hearing was not applied here, but Arjuna's hearing was applied here. Similarly, Kayadu heard. She heard from Narad Muni, but she didn't pay any attention. Her attention was on her family. But Prahalad, he heard attentively and applied it. So his hearing was applied hearing. So this applied hearing is very much necessary so that we can keep the intelligence strong. Otherwise, intelligence remains very weak and the mind remains impure and the senses are absorbed in some gratification. And then we are bound in the material world, suffering, birth, old age, disease, and death. So all these three things should be done. Keep intelligence strong by applied hearing, keep mind very pure by pure inputs to the mind, and keep senses engaged only in Krishna's service, nothing else. Next verse. तस्मादस्य महाबाहो निग्रहीतानि सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यस्तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. Read translation.
Therefore, O mighty arm, one whose senses are restrained from their object, is certainly of steady intelligence.
Yeah. So strong intelligence or steady intelligence. That means who has faith in Krishna, not faith in material objects. That means he doesn't have faith in material objects, so he will not engage his senses in material objects. His senses will be absorbed only in Krishna. So that is why it is said that whose senses are restrained from the material objects, he is of steady intelligence, great intelligence. That means his senses are absorbed in Krishna. Read for
One can curb the forces of sense gratification only by means of Krishna consciousness, or engage in all the senses in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. As enemies are curbed by superior force, the senses can similarly be curbed not by any human endeavor, but only by keeping them engaged in the service of Lord.
wait. So you cannot control the senses by restraining the senses. No. So many great sages they could not control, in spite of restraining the senses for millions of years. They performed austerities, but still they failed. So senses cannot be controlled by restraining the senses. Senses can only be controlled by engaging them in Lord's service. That is the only way, nothing else. Only by devotion can you overcome Maya, can you control the senses. Only by devotion. So senses should be engaged in Krishna's service. Read.
One who has understood this, that only by Krishna consciousness is the only one really established in intelligence, and that one should practice this art under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, is called a sadhana or a suitable candidate for liberation.
Hmm. Yes. So Krishna consciousness, devotion, it is the only solution. And how to practice Krishna consciousness? By applied hearing. From whom to hear? From bona fide spiritual master. So such a person who does applied hearing from a bona fide spiritual master and practice Krishna consciousness, such a person can control the mind and senses and thus can be liberated, can be free from the sufferings of this material world. But if he doesn't do applied hearing, then in spite of so-called hearing from, for just like Dhritarashtra, he became very old. He was hearing all the time from Vidura, but not applied hearing. He became very old. He became very old, and that means you can understand his age must be at least 150 years. At least 150 years. He never did applied hearing. So in spite of 150 years of hearing, he remained suffering in the bondage of material world. Only by applied hearing can we be free from suffering of this material world and be liberated. Next verse. या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागर्ति संयमी यस्यां जागृति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुने. Read.
What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-control, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage.
Yes. So it's simply saying that those who are controlling their senses, or that means engaging their senses in Krishna, Wherever they are active, night means inactive. Awake, day means active. That's what it means. Night means inactive, day means active. So what is saying that wherever the sense controlled person or those who are engaging their senses in Krishna service, so they are active in that field of Krishna consciousness. So other people who are not sense controlled, they are not active in there. For them, that is night. And wherever the worldly people with uncontrolled senses are active, that is the night for the sages who are controlling their senses. That means they are not active there. That means worldly sense gratifiers are active in their field of material objects, and sages who are controlling the senses are active in the field of Krishna. So one is day for them, that is night for another person. Read purport.
There are two classes of intelligent men. One is intelligent in material activities for sense gratification, and the other is introspective and awake in the cultivation of self realization.
Yes, so two classes, materialist and spiritualist. One is materially intelligent, another is spiritually intelligent. So those who are materially intelligent is not considered as intelligence from Krishna's viewpoint, from Bhagavad Gita. No, because all that intelligence will be lost at the time of death. So it's not so much valued. Those who are spiritually intelligent, that is valued. Anyway, two classes of people. One are materialists, another is spiritualists. So where do we belong? We belong to mixed up case. Neither fully spiritualist nor fully materialist. We are more materialist and less spiritualist. Like that. Our position is more materialist and less spiritualist. So we should be fully spiritualist. Why materialist? What is the need to be materialist? We should be fully spiritualist and perform your material duties in Krishna consciousness with devotion. So expectation is that we are supposed to be fully spiritualist. Unless we are fully pure, we are not going to go back from that God. Boy Narada was so pure that he could hear the voice of Krishna. But Krishna said, no, you perform Krishna consciousness for some more years until you are fully pure. So full purity is needed to go back home, back to Godhead, without which we cannot go. Bharat Maharaj, he was in such an advanced stage of devotion, but because of slight attachment to deer, that impurity caused him to remain in this world. So Krishna wants full purity. So we should strive for full purity, full Krishna consciousness. Because in between, if we remain, then we are simply making the bad choice and we are going to simply inviting the sufferings in our life. So better be fully Krishna conscious and try to stop the cycle of material sufferings in our life. Read.
Activities of the introspective sage or thoughtful man are night for persons materially absorbed. Materialistic persons remain asleep in such a night due to their ignorance of self realization. The introspective sage remains alert in the night of the materialistic men. The sage feels transcendental pleasure in the gradual advancement of spiritual culture, whereas the man in materialistic activities, being asleep to self-realization, dreams of varieties of sense pleasure, feeling sometimes happy and sometimes distressed in his sleeping condition.
Wait. So sage is absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Worldly people are absorbed in material sense objects. Sage in Krishna consciousness feeling happiness. Materialist in acquiring their material success are feeling happiness. But there is difference between both these happiness. What's the difference? The happiness which sage feels is is different. How it is different? That this happiness which sage experience is not disturbed in spite of suffering in the sage life. I will explain. Let's say someone became topper in his institute. He's happy. But he's topper in his institute. But he did not got the desired department in which he wanted to study. Miserable. He is topper in his institute. His institute could be of that class. He's topper in his institute. He's happy. But he did not got the desired department to study because his marks are less compared to that. Miserable. He may feel that what is the use of being the topper when I'm not getting my desired department to study? What is the use of being the topper? Because others are having better marks who are from other institutes. He's topper in an institute. So material happiness, material happiness becomes disturbed by the sufferings which we get. Another example I can give. Someone may be happy about the marriage, but then he becomes disturbed by observing things which he didn't expect it. That happens. That one gets to know after marriage. So like that. So material happiness gets spoiled by material disturbance. But spiritual happiness never gets spoiled by material disturbance. Never gets spoiled. Sages also gets the difficulties in their life. But the spiritual happiness which they have attained, that never gets spoiled. They remain on that platform in spite of material disturbances. So that is one good thing about spiritual happiness. Second part is that spiritual happiness, it always increases. It always increases. But material happiness, you experience it and then it just vanishes away. For example, again the same example I will give. Okay, another example. You got good food to eat. You're happy. But then, how long that happiness will remain? Only for a few hours. That's all. So material happiness, even if you get it, it just vanishes away. Even if you are topper in the institute, yes, everyone will rejoice for 1 day, 2 day. After that, it vanishes away. Who cares? So that is the nature of material happiness. Even if you get it, it vanishes away. But spiritual happiness never happens like that. Spiritual happiness always remains with you and it increases more. Yeah. So these are the 2 points about differences of happiness, material happiness versus spiritual happiness. So one should be clever enough to understand the the degraded nature of material happiness. People are not so clever. People just become so much enamored by little little material happiness which they get and just simply get carried away by it. But spiritual happiness is something which one can experience only by thoughtful spiritual observation and cleverness. So we should strive for spiritual happiness, not material happiness. So yes, materialistic people are happy in their materialistic sense gratification. But I told you how degraded it is. So those who are clever, those who are introspective spiritualists, they never go for such degraded material happiness. They always want to have spiritual happiness. And that's why they become very serious in practice of Krishna consciousness. Read more.
The introspective man is always indifferent to materialistic happiness and distress. He goes on with his spiritual self-realization activities undisturbed by material reactions.
Yes, basically, his spiritual happiness never gets disturbed by happiness, material disturbances. So his sages, they just carry on in spite of material disturbance. They don't bother. But materialistic people, they become very much disturbed. And disturbances are going to come. No one is there in this world who doesn't get any disturbance. Everyone gets disturbance. Whether one is spiritualist or materialist. But materialist person becomes down by those disturbances, and spiritualist person never becomes down by those disturbances. He also feels trouble, but he never becomes down by those disturbances. He always rejoices his spiritual happiness, which he has attained. Yes,
Yeah, there is no term called spiritual disturbance. Like we compare material enjoyment versus spiritual enjoyment. Material disturbance, but similarly, you cannot have spiritual disturbance.
yeah.
You can only
I did
enjoy.
not use this term spiritual disturbance
Yeah.
because it never exists. Spiritual disturbance never exists. Only spiritual happiness exists. Okay. Next verse. आपूर्यमाणम् अचला प्रतिष्ठम् समुद्रमाप प्रविशन्ति यद्वत् तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे स शान्तिमाप्नोति न काम कामी. Read.
A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires.
Yes. So all the rivers they flow, and ultimately meet ocean. You can imagine so many rivers of water is entering into the ocean. So much water, so much actually. Lot of water. Every second, lots of water is entering into the ocean. But still, ocean water level never rises up, isn't it? So much water is entering inside the ocean, still ocean water level never rises up. It is mysterious. So just like the ocean water level never rises up in spite of so many rivers of water entering inside it, that means ocean is not getting disturbed in spite of so many rivers of water entering inside it. Like that, a great sage is never disturbed in spite of so many desires, worldly desires may be hitting him. He never becomes disturbed. Okay. Desires are compared to the river flow. Why it is compared to river flow? Because in the river flow there is never a gap in between of water, isn't it? Sometimes when the water is not there sufficiently, then you open the tap, then you get the water drops. That means there is gap in the flow of water. In the river, there is never gap of the flow of water. Flow is continuous. That is called river. So like that, desires just flow continuously. It never stops. Is there any time when you have no desire? Never happens. Always we are carrying some desires. Desires flow is always there in our mind. So desires are compared to rivers. So many desires may hit the person, the sage, Krishna conscious person, but he will not be disturbed. Such a person will be peaceful. Just like the ocean never becomes disturbed, never ocean water level never rises, ocean never disturbed. Like that, this person, Krishna conscious person, is never disturbed by the materialistic desires. Such a person can be peaceful, and not the one who is trying to satisfy those desires. That means sense gratifier. So Krishna conscious person will be peaceful because he is not affected by the desires, and the materialistic person will never be in peace because he is trying to satisfy the desires. So people consider or people glorify those who are successful in satisfying or fulfilling their desires, isn't it? Those who are successful fulfilling their desires, they are considered great. Everyone has desire to become rich. Everyone has desire to become famous. Everyone has desire to appear beautiful. Those who are successful in that, they are glorified. So materially successful people are glorified in this world. That means who are successful in fulfilling their material desires. But Krishna is saying such people who are successful in fulfilling their material desire cannot attain peace. People feel that once this desire is fulfilled, then I can rest in peace. Once I have my own house, then I will be peaceful, isn't it? Once I get married, I will be peaceful. Once my children are married, I will be peaceful. Like this, people have imagination. No. Those who are striving to fulfill their material desires will never be peaceful. Don't fulfill your material desires. Only perform your duties in Krishna consciousness. Material duties we need to perform, but it has to be done in devotion. So those who are Krishna conscious, they only will be peaceful, not those who are trying to fulfill their material desires. They will never be peaceful. So that is why I say most of the devotees, they are just having the external layer of Krishna consciousness. And their internal life is simply to fulfill material desires. And that is why, in spite of practicing Krishna consciousness, they don't rejoice or they are not so peaceful. They are disturbed. So We should be Krishna conscious. We should not be trying to fulfill material desires because that will not give us peace. If we are trying to serve Krishna, trying to satisfy Krishna, then we will be peaceful. Okay? That much faith in Krishna should be there. Then we will be peaceful. Not those who are trying to satisfy material desires, fulfill material desires. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasa. That means he understands that Krishna is the one who should be satisfied. His desires should be fulfilled, not mine. If my desires, if I try to fulfill my desires, I will be in disturbed condition. If I will try to fulfill Krishna's desire, then I will be in peaceful condition. So I should fulfill Krishna's desire. Krishna says, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapsa. So by understanding, by accepting this principle, then you will get peace. Gyatva mang shanti mrichati. And if you don't do it, and if you do this, which is said here, that you are simply trying to fulfill your material desires, then you will never be in peace. So very simple. If you want to be peaceful, if you want to be happy, serve Krishna. Otherwise, you will be disturbed when you try to fulfill your material desires. Read Bhagavad.
Although the vast ocean is always filled with water, it is always, especially during the rainy season, being filled with much more water. But the ocean remains the same, steady. It is not agitated, nor does it cross beyond the limit of its brink. That is also true of a person fixed in Krishna consciousness. As long as he has the material body, the demands of the body for sense gratifications will continue. The devotee, however, is not disturbed by such desires because of his fullness. A Krishna conscious man is not in the need of anything because the Lord fulfills all his material necessities.
Wait. A Krishna conscious man is not in need of anything because Lord fulfills all his material necessities. This doesn't mean that whatever material things you desire, that's Lord is going to fulfill. No. Devotee never desires of fulfilling material things. That Krishna will take care of whatever he has to do it. Okay. So whatever material things are there, Krishna takes care of it as per his choice. Devotee is simply interested in serving Krishna. So devotee is not interested in anything material, and Krishna takes care of his material needs as per his choice. Okay? This doesn't mean that Krishna will do everything materially for him. No. Arjuna's son Abhimanyu died. Material loss in one sense. So where Krishna is taking care of his material necessities? The only son, and that's going to die. Where Krishna is taking care of material necessities. So Krishna takes care of material necessities as per his terms, not as per our terms. So whatever the way Krishna wants to take care of our material necessities, that is as per Krishna's choice. Devotee is simply interested in Krishna's service. Some devotee may be very rich, some devotee may be very poor. Poor devotee is not desiring of richness, and the rich devotee is also not desiring of richness. Krishna gave me richness, fine. It's all to serve Krishna. Poor man, he doesn't have richness. No, whatever I have, I will serve Krishna. It's like that. So that's as per Krishna's choice what he wants to give materially. Devotee is only interested in serving Krishna, no material necessities. Lord does fulfill material necessities as per his choice. Okay. Read.
Therefore, he is like the ocean. always full in himself. Desires may come to him like the waters of the rivers that flow into the ocean, but he is steady in his activities and is not even slightly disturbed by the desires for sense gratification. That is the proof of Krishna consciousness man. One who has lost all inclinations for material sense gratification, although the desires are present.
So desires are present. Okay. It could be that material desires are absent. It could be. But mostly in the practicing stage, material desires are present. But he is not at all inclined towards those material desires. No inclination. Those desires may be there, those desires may be present, but he is not inclined for them. For example, for example, someone just like Valmiki, who was in his previous life, who he was in his previous life. He was a hunter, robber. So when he became the sage, that doesn't mean that he forgot his previous life. He knew that I was like that. So those desires of being robber, being hunter are present in his mind. But now he is sage now. So he's not at all inclined for it. No inclination. Because he has got a higher taste of devotion to Lord Ram. Why he should be inclined for that lower taste? Okay, like that. So just like someone may be living in a very small, poor, thatched house, but now by Krishna's grace he got lot of money and he is living in a posh bungalow. So he knows that I was living like that. That thoughts are there in his present in his mind, but he has no inclination to live that way now. Earlier he was living that way for years, but now he has no inclination because he has better facility. So similarly, devotee, they may be having material desires present in their mind, but they are not at all inclined for it. They are inclined only in Krishna, to serve Krishna. Read further.
Because he remains satisfied in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, he can remain steady, like the ocean, and therefore enjoy full peace. Others, however, who want to fulfill desires even up to the limit of liberation, what to speak of material success, never attain peace.
Wait. So yes, material desires are never going to offer you peace, even if you are successful in fulfilling it. And even if you have desire for liberation, liberation means getting out of the material bondage. That will also not give you peace. Like that, here it is said in the purport. I will read that line again. That who want to fulfill desires even up to the limit of liberation never attains peace. Well, for your information and for our good understanding, if you are liberated, you are peaceful. Liberation means zero. Material desires means negative, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4. Devotion means plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4. So, from the perspective of devotional joy, there is no peace in liberation from the perspective of devotional joy. Otherwise, liberation is a state where one is peaceful, but he is not joyful. He is peaceful, but he is not joyful. Just like you are there in the room, you have good health. Okay, you have good health. You are you got good food also to eat. Okay, you have good bed to sleep also. So you are all your bodily needs are taken care, but there is no one to talk to you. So you are peaceful, but you are not joyful. So that is the stage of liberation. That one is peaceful, but one is not joyful. So from the perspective of joyfulness, he is not peaceful. Because soul is by nature, constitutional nature is joyful, not peaceful. Peacefulness is subset of being joyful, a very small subset. So soul is inherently joyful. So in the peaceful state, soul is not peaceful. Just like you are there in the room peacefully, but you don't remain peaceful because you are a soul. You want someone to talk to, like that. So in spite of attaining peace, you are not peaceful. So that's why it is said that even on the stage of liberation, one is not peaceful. Okay, read no further.
The fruitive workers, the salvationists, and also the yogis who are after mystic powers are all unhappy because of the unfulfilled desires. But the person,
Wait. So all these people, fruitive workers, salvationists or yogis, they all have material desires. So whether material desires are fulfilled or not fulfilled, you will remain disturbed. You will not be happy. E- Even if it is fulfilled, you feel that you are happy. No. Even it is fulfilled, another material happiness, another material desire is going to disturb you because you are in the wrong track. Like that. So in spite whether it is fulfilled or not fulfilled, you will be disturbed. You will not be happy. Okay. Read further.
but the person in Krishna consciousness is happy in the service of the Lord, and he has no desires to be fulfilled.
Yeah, no material desires to be fulfilled, but he has lot of spiritual desires. Okay, no material desires to be fulfilled. Read.
In fact, he does not even desire liberation from the so-called material bondage. The devotee, the devotees of the Krishna have no material desires, and therefore they are in perfect peace.
Yeah. See, devotees don't have any material desires. Devotees do not want even liberation. What they want is only devotion, service to Krishna. That is devotee. Who doesn't have any material desires, who doesn't want even liberation, who only wants to serve Krishna. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying, "Na dhanam, na janam, na sundari, kalpam va jagdishkam. Mama janmani janmanishwari bhavtat bhaktir ahetuki tvai." That is devotee. Who only wants to serve Krishna. No material desires. Only thought, only absorption is Krishna, service to Krishna. That is devotee. And that kind of devotee we should try to become. Not that those great sages they will become. No, we all are expected to become. So we should become like this good devotee without any material desire, only desire to serve Krishna. So we stop now. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
That would have been